When your heart is pure and you're absolutely sure, the promises of deity and the royal succession, benefits we see, divine intervention, witnessed and verified through each capitulo. Our faith tested, tried, the promises will flow.
Courtship and wooing in Estolia are much different than in the greater world. A man might know with a deep certainty of the heart that one woman is right for him, and all he must do is wait until his 30th birthday to consummate the union. He does not expect to see the aura because deity has already told him that this woman is right for him. Alternatively, a man might see a woman's aura as he nears his birthday. In this situation, it is not unheard of for a couple to feel a deep compulsion to consummate the union, no matter how short their acquaintance has been. In the Estolian mindset, the viewing of an aura is a declaration from deity that the union cannot fail. Lazarus Ricardan Zakarian, Capitulo 84.
Wraith settled into one of the passenger seats in the cargo airplane that was taking them to Estolia. They were flying in the pre-dawn, and the flight was to take less than an hour.
Is there anything special I need to know before we get to Estolia?
She said.
As we will be working for the royal stables, we are likely to be greeted upon our arrival.
So early?
She asked.
Dawn is one of those times of the day that my people love to greet. Some prefer to sleep in, but it is considered a universal truth that there is nothing on earth more extraordinary than an Estolian dawn.
Who will greet us?
My father, my uncle Leo, and my cousin Isaiah are likely to greet us upon our arrival. They all occupy positions of great authority in our government.
All three will welcome us?
He nodded before adding.
Family is always close in Estolia. Isaiah's brother Zeke suffered a devastating injury last week. It is uncertain whether his injury will keep him from fulfilling his place in the hierarchy of our government. If he cannot fulfill his obligations, I will take his place. It will be a year before we know. That is why I have been recalled, so I might be instructed in the duties of the office I may be asked to fill.
Wraith sorted through everything he said. It sounded like the dynamics in his home country were quite complicated.
Where will I live?
There is a house reserved for the head of the royal stable, but it would be inappropriate to inhabit it together, as it is only suitable for a married couple. I have been told we will have a wing of the palace, either our own or in my father's wing.
Palace?
Hi did mention it was the royal stable I would be running. It, like the stable in Barcelona, is owned by the nation of Estolia.
Your father lives in the palace?
Yes, it is a tremendous building, built in antiquity and renovated many times over the centuries. Most of my extended family live there.
Their conversation tapered at that point. A short time later the intercom squawked, and when it was done, Gregorio told her they would be landing in 10 minutes. During the 8 months since they met, they ate their meals and worked together on and off throughout the day. Their non-standard hours worked well for them, and most days they did some work, but also found time for some leisure. Once Adelphia chose Wraith, he took time out of his schedule to teach her to ride.
It is fortunate that Adelphia chose you.
He said during one of their earliest lessons.
In this way, you will understand Estolians better than book learning could ever duplicate. You will make a much better assistant with such personal knowledge.
I've seen the invoices for fillies like Adelphia,
She said.
Isn't she a rather pricey bonus?
He laughed at that.
Adelphia chose you. The most difficult factor in raising Estolians is that they must choose their own rider. That is one of the main reasons that their price is so high. We have extensive grounds and multiple stable blocks because we cannot just ship 20 or 50 yearlings off to the sales. We must care for them until they find their soulmate. We might have supported Adelphia for 5 or more years waiting for her to find her life partner.
Gregorio was an attractive man. His silver blonde hair gave him a boyish air. When his large, trim physique was pressed against her, during some of her earliest riding lessons, she thought him anything but boyish. She warned him off when she first met him, but she wished she had not. If he ever seemed interested in her, she would forget every objection she ever had to becoming sexually active. She wanted Gregorio Zakarian. The fear of intimacy she faced since her sister's confidences about losing her virginity seemed to have faded. She knew she had nothing to fear, not with Gregorio. And yet, he seemed indifferent to her. He never indicated that she was anything more than a highly valued employee. He was a physical, demonstrative man, freely complimenting her on her work, her horsemanship, and occasionally her outfit or appearance. But as much as he clearly meant what he said, and was a man who felt delight in the events and people in his life, she was not even sure he recognized her as a woman. Her dreams were always full of him, his handsome profile, his broad shoulders and solid musculature. His earthy scent when he came in after riding his stallion. He was eye candy, as her sister Willow was fond of characterizing the men she met, slept with, and occasionally married. In Wraith's dreams she admired every inch of his body, as he undressed, pressed his virile length against her, and then possessed her. By the time she had worked for him for 6 months, she was sure she would have a loveless, husbandless, childless future. Gregorio was the only unattached man she spent any time with, and marriage, to her mind, was best accomplished young. In 6 months, she would be 25 and her prospects were swirling down the drain. If she was honest, she did not really care. She enjoyed being with Gregorio, dreaming about him, and remaining close to him. She doubted any other man who came into her orbit would be able to catch her interest now, not when compared with him, even though he treated her with the same amount of attention as he would give a beloved sister. Her eyes were closed, trying to block out his attractive face and body. She opened them in surprise when one of Gregorio's large hands took hers, squeezing tightly.
Thank you for coming with me, Wraith. You are indispensable to me. I was planning to talk with you sometime this month to discuss an extension of your contract, but we have been working flat out since I got recalled, so I never had the chance. I wanted you to know I have never had an assistant as skilled as you are, and I value you highly. I did not realize exactly what I was going to get when I promised Eve that I would take you as my assistant, but I should have trusted his instincts.
I'm glad you offered me the job. It has been incredibly stimulating.
Working in the offices of the Jenner Corporation had stifled her in many ways. Being Gregorio's assistant, while similar, was also more diverse, especially once she fell in love with Adelphia and learned to ride. She could not imagine ever working in a job that did not center around horses.
The promises of deity and the royal succession, benefits we see, divine intervention, witnessed and verified through each capitulo. Our faith tested, tried, the promises will flow.